Welcome to Discovering 615. In this episode, Thack Attack 615 sits down with Jacob Sellers, founder of Sellers Lighting Company. What began with hanging a few Christmas lights has grown into a thriving lighting business, from seasonal displays to year-round smart lighting. Jacob also shares how he's using his work to serve families in need. It's an inspiring story you won't want to miss. Let's get into it.
So you guys changed the names a little bit on that?
Yeah, we restructured earlier this year, just trying to,
Good deal.
cover more widespread than just Christmas lights, which is how it started.
Gotcha. Well, good deal. So, yeah. And that's been going well since you guys restructured a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I would love the name. It's a family name now. So, instead of it being Dazzling Christmas Light Guys, it's the family name, so Sellers Lighting Company.
Nice.
So have something there that, can pass down to my kids or...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just kind of carry that legacy if it takes off and does what I hope it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Good deal. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Discovering 615. I'm your host, Thack Attack 615, and I'm here today with Jacob Sellers of Sellers Lighting Company.
Yep.
Jacob, glad to have you with us today.
Glad to be on.
So give me a little bit about your background, how you guys, are you from Nashville? Are you native Tennessean? Or give me a little bit of the background there.
So I was born and raised here.
Okay.
Grew up in Hermitage my whole life. Lived in Old Hickory. My dad lived in Lakewood. Graduated from McGavick. So been here my whole life. Grew up working for my uncle doing construction work. So had a construction background growing up in electrical and all that. And that's about it as far as, growing up here.
Okay. Good deal. And then what got you into what you're doing now? Talk about how that evolved. Talk about the concept there and things like that.
So in all honesty, I grew up, we always decorated. My grandpa always put lights up and everything. And, you get into being a teenager and everything and you kind of get away from it all and didn't care and all that. It's like, if we put a Christmas tree up, no big deal. I just want the gifts. And then when I met my wife, have my daughter.
Okay.
And she was really big into Halloween, like doing Halloween stuff.
Okay.
So we got really big into decorating for Halloween.
Right.
And that was really fun. And then Halloween kind of flowed into Christmas. I started being like my grandfather and the whole house was decorated, lights everywhere, every bush. And it was all just store-bought stuff. We were just, going down and buying everything that we liked and putting it up. And we bought our house that we live in now in 2022. And when we bought it, my wife wanted to do custom lights. She had seen them before and really liked them and really wanted them. And so the thought process was, well, let's go get some quotes and see what it cost. And the cost just, at the time, we had just bought a house and I was like, I'm not paying that.
Right.
And I told her, I was like, look, there's not much I can't do. I was like, look, let me figure it out.
Okay.
And so after about a month, there I was building my own lines and running my own lights and everything. So that's cool. That's how it started, was through that process of just her wanting it and us decorating.
So a simple family tradition of Christmas lights to your wife wanting Halloween to let's make this into a small business then.
Yeah, well, so it turned into that, and I realized I could do it myself.
Okay.
And the fun part about it there is I had no intentions of making it into a business. It was just like, it's on my house.
Right.
I'm happy. And at that time we had my son, so we were very busy and everything. And I managed at Pepsi and, had that going on to where just not much spare time. And one of my neighbors had moved in about a year after. And it was the second year we put lights up on our house. And he asked if I could do them because he saw me doing them. And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, I don't mind. And we started talking and I was like, well, I just don't have the ability to run around and do it. And awesome thing was he was like, well, if you want to do it, I'll help. He had a truck and a trailer. And so that kind of sparked the birth of the business was us going in on it together and just seeing what could happen. We actually started the weekend after Thanksgiving in 23. And that first year we did 12 homes. That was it. But it was fun. I mean, it was different. We did 4 in our own neighborhood.
I think you did my house that year too. That's when we got in.
That was the first year I did yours.
Yeah, that was a great job, guys. So if you need lights,
thank you.
Yeah, Sellers Light Company.
Yeah, I mean, and it was great. And then the incredible thing of it was the kids. You know, my kids, they love decorating. My son, when we do Halloween, of course, we offer Halloween lights.
Oh wow!
I did those last year too for a couple homes. And he loves it. He wants to run outside and see everything. And we brought back the tradition of driving around and going looking at Christmas lights, which a lot of people don't do anymore.
Right.
And so it was really fun last year being able to take my kids out and show them my work, you know, on the homes and stuff. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, talk about a little bit more about the lighting stuff, because like you just mentioned Halloween lights. So I mean, in terms of the colorations, obviously, you know, Christmas lights, I guess, would be your traditional white or red, green, and white. But
we offer just about every color variation.
Okay.
I did everything from the traditional multicolor homes where it's the red, blue, green, yellow, orange.
Okay.
And then we do a lot where it's just the traditional warm white. A lot of homes just like that. And then we do red and green. We do green and red. We do red, white, and green. I mean, if you have a certain color variation you like, we can do it. We even have pink lights, purple lights, baby blue, orange, just about anything you want. And then same thing for Halloween. We did Halloween last year, and I did green and purple on a house, which was kind of like a witch theme.
Yeah, okay.
And then we did a orange, green, and purple on another house.
Okay.
Halloween's not as popular, but it's fun because the way we do it is we'll go out and we'll do the Halloween lights, and then we'll come back after Halloween and flip them to Christmas lights, which is whatever color variation you want.
Gotcha.
So
now I've noticed some people now have got these lights on their homes that they do different colors during the year. Do you guys put those on as well?
Yeah, so that's the permanent lighting.
Okay, the permanent lighting. Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
So we got started in the permanent lighting last year. After our first year doing Christmas lights with me and my buddy, we had a lot of people ask about it. And I didn't know anything about it. It was new to us. It's very new in Nashville. Not a lot of people have it. And so I started looking into it and everything, and ended up going through about 13 different companies before I found one that I really liked.
Right.
And I actually last April flew out to Utah for 3 days and became a certified dealer with a company called Invisilights.
Okay.
And so we do those as well. So last year we got certified, and we sell Invisilights, which are the permanent lights that go under your soffit, right at the edge of your eaves.
I've seen, like somebody over here in the neighborhood has that.
Yeah, probably something similar.
Yeah.
And you just control it with an app on your phone. It's all wired in, and they stay up permanently.
Oh wow!
So, but Invisilights is an incredible company. I love just the quality of their material beats out most companies.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know then. So besides the holiday lights, you said you were saying at the beginning, you guys have kind of transferred your business a little bit. What else do you guys offer to homeowners? So
we still do the Christmas lights. You know, of course, that's kind of the foundation. That's what the company was built on. But we do the permanent lights now, and then we got into landscape lighting this year.
Okay, talk about that. So we
do landscape lighting, hardscape lighting, and then we can just do kind of different, I guess you could say, festival lighting, like the bistro lights.
Okay.
You know, the ones you see at restaurants for like back decks and different things.
Right.
We've already done 3 of those jobs this year. I did a hardscape job around a pool that got installed. So we did a retaining wall. So it was hardscape lighting. And then concrete steps. We did lighting in the steps.
Gotcha.
And then I did another job that we just finished the other day where it was bistro lights over a pool. So we tied into their existing deck, and we put in 2 posts on the opposite side of the pool. and strung bistro lights in.
Okay.
And since it's all low voltage, you know, we're licensed for all that. But anything for like that instance, I had an electrician come out, ran power exactly where I needed it. So it's plugged in, and we had it wired to their back porch light switch.
Okay.
So they just flip their lights on, and all the pool lights come on.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Now you mentioned hardscape because I think I caught it. Part of it. That's what because some folks may not.
So the
have heard
difference
that.
between hardscape and landscape is when it's just like the dirt area, you know,
Okay.
bushes, trees, pathways. Hardscape is when it's in like concrete.
Okay. Yeah.
So like if you have a retaining wall or a concrete wall or concrete steps,
Okay.
or if you have to do some like core drilling into paths because it's all concrete, that would be considered hardscape lighting.
Okay.
So we do all that as well.
Okay. So what have been some of the challenges and successes for you guys so far?
One of the biggest challenges starting out was just learning all the different kind of tricks of the trade and everything. Just figuring out what was the best way to go buy things and trying to find the right companies to get material from. Because there's so many companies out there that sell stuff.
Right.
And we were buying stuff from here and there. And we ran in one of the third jobs I did the first year we did it. I had ordered greenery from one company because I liked their greenery, and ordered lights from another. And when we put them up, the Kelvin, the color temperature was off.
Oh.
And you could see the difference on the house. And we
Oh,
actually had
wow.
to take the greenery off and change it. So just learning some little nicks like that. But then the hardest thing is the marketing part, just getting your name out there.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the difficult part. We've done most of our work is word of mouth. You know, we do
Sure.
Facebook advertisement and Google advertising and stuff like that. But just finding different ways. You know, we've sent out mailers and just different things, but just trying to get to where you're one of those more well-known companies to where people go, hey, I'm looking for this. Oh, well, this is who you need to do it with.
Right.
You know, I saw this ad the other day or something like
Okay.
that. So that's been the hardest thing to overcome.
Okay. What about some of your successes? What are a couple successes?
Successes is just how fast we've grown. I mean, I think the quality of our work speaks for itself. I'm extremely attention to detail. You know, I'm kind of OCD when it comes to a job. I look at it all like I'm putting it on my house.
There
I want
you
it,
go.
I want
Okay.
it to be
Yeah.
a certain way. So, and I think it drove a couple of my guys crazy last holiday because I was like, hey, you can see that wire right there. Y'all got to get back up there and fix that. But the attention to detail has made it to where we get a lot of referrals. You know, that's what's
Right.
kept the business going. I mean, all the permanent lighting that I've done this year so far was all referrals. And to me, it speaks volumes when someone refers you and they're willing to pay $8,000-9,000 for a job from word of mouth and
Okay.
aren't even willing to, you know, quote it out. They're just like,
Gotcha.
no, I've heard what I've heard about you, and you're
Oh,
who
wow.
I'm going with.
That's great. That's great. So then along those lines, then customer experience, what do you want your clients, your customers to experience with you all?
So with us, the biggest thing to me over the years is contractors have gotten this reputation about them of that you never hear back from them. Communication is horrible. You'll have a job, you don't know when they're coming out, you don't know when things get ordered. So I love the fact that with me, you know, we communicate so well. It's an easy process through the whole thing. I let people know when we order all the material. I let them know when it comes in, that the quality check has been done, when we've scheduled. You know, we show up when we were supposed to versus saying, hey, I'll be there Monday, and then we show up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, just simple things like that. You know, I want each and every customer to feel like, hey, I'm doing lights at my mom's house or something. You know, it's you are my priority at that time.
Gotcha. Great. That's good to know. What about community involvement, like in terms of how has the community and the communities you're in, how have they received you? And then how do you engage in terms of giving back to the communities too?
So the first year we did it, we actually made a Facebook post about wanted to know who was going through struggles and everything,
Yeah.
and what we could do. and we had decided what we were going to do was we actually gave free lights out.
Oh, nice.
So we had found a family the first year we did it, and it was a husband with 3 kids, and they had actually lost their mom. And so we came out and we did the whole house for free.
Oh, wow.
And had it where it was kind of like reveal this home kind of thing, where the
yeah.
lights were off, the kids came out, and we plugged it up for them, and just to see them bright up when they're going through such a tragic time in their life.
Yeah.
You know, because I couldn't imagine my household without my wife. You know,
Yeah.
she's the structure to everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so just having that kind of little piece of excitement, you know, meant the world. And doing that actually gained some momentum for us as far as like people seeing it and in the community. And then the goal is this year I want to do it again, but I want to do it for 5 homes.
Oh,
so I want to try to pick 5 families.
Nice.
And then I've actually talked to a couple other people, and the goal is for the families we can't do, you know, if it's not, because every story we got had some type of impact.
Right.
But some of them were just like, hey, we don't have much money to get presents or something like this. And, you know, me putting lights up on a house isn't going to have the same effect as it would with kids not having anything. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So the thought process is the ones that have dealt with some kind of issue that would like that excitement.
Yes.
We're going to do lights, but we're also going to try to buy gifts and stuff for struggling families.
That's great. That's
awesome. This year's goal for giving back.
Lights
and then
gifts. That's awesome.
For 4th of July, me and my buddy's company, we actually sponsor a light show.
Nice.
So yeah, we do a 4th of July.
So where will that light show, that fireworks show be?
We do it in our neighborhood.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's the Watermill neighborhood.
Great deal.
So
if you're in the Watermill neighborhood area,
yep, in Lebanon,
check it out. The 4th of July show. That's awesome.
Yep,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So what about? So you touched on some things. What about? Do you have any like a humorous moment, like you're sitting there, you guys did something and it's like, oh, or one of those aha moments that you're able to share? You know, one of those, I don't want to call it a crazy client moment, but just some story that sticks out in your mind that you found very humorous. You walked away, you kind of have that memory of one. I know the charity one you just mentioned is a great moment.
The only thing I think of like funny moments is like we've had some dumb stuff, and I'm fully insured.
Yeah.
You know, so if anything ever happens, no homeowners ever at risk. You know, we have workman's comp.
Yeah.
We're insured up to $2 million on the home. But I've had a couple times where like someone was climbing the ladder and missed a step, and all of a sudden they just hit the ladder, and it's like the old cartoons where it's like doom 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 doom, you know.
Gosh.
And I had one year we were doing lights, and we were going into dark, and the temperatures dropped like that.
Oh,
it was last year. I forget which week it was, but temperature dropped down, and it got down to like 4 degrees that night instantly.
Oh, wow.
And the roof had actually frosted over.
Oh,
and
my
I was
gosh.
up on it, and I remember I was going to one side and I slipped and was sliding down the roof, and I caught myself at the end. And my buddy was like, "Hey, you okay up there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just about fell off the roof, but we're almost done." So those are a couple of moments where it's just like it's fun, but you know we have all the safety gear that we need and everything like that. But you always have those moments
Absolutely.
where it's, you know. And in the moment, you're like, oh, my gosh, you know, that happened. But after the fact, it's funny.
That's funny. That's too funny. So what about future plans for your business, Sellers Lighting Company? What do you guys see you doing in terms of in the future?
So the goal is I would like a division of the company to just solely be for Christmas lights. You know, I'd like to grow into like more commercial, doing, you know, like for the city, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Different things like that. But the ultimate goal is I'd like to expand the permanent lights and the landscape lighting to more of a contractor role.
Okay.
You know, we still do it to everyday clients, but I would like to, a lot of these new home neighborhoods that are being built, something that's not offered is lighting. And, you know, for like Ryan Homes or Southeastern or Eastland.
Yeah, exactly.
And my thought process is if you're spending $500,000 on a home, $750,000 on a home, one neat thing to have would be lighting. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
It makes a home of that value feel so much more elegant. You know, to pull up to your house and have the accent lighting or have that ability, you know, and it being tied into your mortgage versus you having to pay it outright.
Right.
To me, would have that different appeal.
Okay.
And that's the goal where I'd like to see us in the next 2 or 3 years is being kind of one of those package offers
Gotcha.
of, you know, hey, is this something you would like?
So have you guys pursued that with any of the building companies yet, or?
I haven't yet. I have a couple independent contractors
Okay.
that I've spoke with, but I haven't like in detail sat down and really got into it, because that'd be one of those things where it's like, you know, once you do that, if you go forward with it, you got to be ready to handle it.
Gotcha.
You know, so my goal is I got a couple guys that I'm training right now
Okay.
to learn how to install lights and everything. That way, it's not just me; it's I have that manpower. So if we
Right.
do get to that, and that is something that we can hit on, then we would be able to take it full
Gotcha.
stride.
Gotcha. So what advice do you have for any aspiring entrepreneurs that might want to think about getting into this, or an avenue of this, or
My
starting
advice
their own
would
business?
be go for it. You know, that was my biggest issue. Is I probably could have started this 4 years ago with the way we were decorating and stuff. It just it didn't really cross my mind. But you know, we had people say before, "Oh, y'all decorate so much, you do so much, you should offer it. You know, you should do it for other people." And never wanted to deal with it. And I probably, you know, honestly, if it wasn't for my buddy to say, "Hey, if you want to do it, you know, I'll help you out," I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
You know, we'd probably just still be doing it on our house and living our everyday lives. So, you know, and it's something that we had always talked about and considered, but you got to take that leap. You know, you gotta be willing to do it. And, you know, my situation, I was lucky enough to have someone willing to help me out, you know, but if you don't hesitate, because you can be very successful.
Good deal. So where can people, Jacob, go to find you guys?
So you can go to our website. It's sellerslightingcompany.com.
Okay.
Or our Facebook page is Sellers Lighting Company. And then same thing with Instagram. And you can contact us through any of those. You can actually schedule a quote on the website, and it sends it directly to us, and we can come out.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Jacob, thanks for coming on, and thank everyone for tuning in. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thank you.
See you.